Alrighty, this is a video. Like and subscribe if you want, please. Help us out. And let's go over the Acura Integra that's dropping tonight. I'm Zach, by the way. Alright guys, I'm gonna film a real quick video on this car. Just kidding, on the new one. But what better background than the old one? I'm just gonna give you a quick recap and summary so that you're prepared for tonight. Today is November 11th. Tonight at 5:35 p.m. West Coast time. Yeah, I don't know what the Pacific time zone. Whatever the time zone is, it's the west side of the United States. 5:35. 8:35 on the other side of the country. They're releasing the new version of this. So what better backdrop than this thing? I'm gonna give you guys a quick recap so that you're ready for tonight. On this date, we had the very first photo of it released. And I wanna say that all of the renderings that people who do not work for Acura made and all of the people guessing what it looked like were entirely wrong. They were very, very, very far off, not correct at all. Yeah, wasn't really accurate at all. But, yeah, you know, it was fun to look at. But then that day came when Acura dropped a short video of the headlight turning on with the sound. Beautiful. It was amazing. It teased all of us. It was kind of mean, but it was really great. And then shortly after, they dropped the photo of the back of the car where we could see it was 4 doors and it looked very similar to a Mercedes GT, 4-door GT. But that's all right. It looked good. A couple things about that. Yeah, it's a 4-door. That's okay as long as they still have a 2-door version. But they released the headlight. That video came out and the coolest thing about that was it said Integra on the front. The fact that they're still calling it the Integra and the fact that it's actually indented in the bumper just like this car is super cool. Because you already know this bad boy's got it in the front and the rear. And that's literally the coolest thing ever. Probably don't need to remind you that brands don't do that. I can't think of another car I've seen that on recently. And again, the fact they call it the Integra is cool because the last generation of this car in the United States domestic market, and I think Canada too, was called the RSX. It was called the Integra everywhere else, but we got it as RSX, and every other Acura is like an MDX, an NSX, a TSX. I think the TSX is what the TL was, right? Or maybe there's a TLX, I don't know. They're all like 3 letters with an X in there, right? So the fact that they are bringing the car back and they kept it as the Integra, even in the United States, and they kept the name in the bumpers is the coolest thing ever. That alone is sick, and Acura deserves props for that. Secondly, it still comes in a 4-door. There's a lot of people who like 4-door Integras. I wildly prefer the 2-door. For the people who like 4 doors, I'm sure they were happy about that. Plus nowadays, American cars are all just big and, you know, it kind of makes sense. But there is a pretty decent market for 2-door cars right now. We have the Toyota 86 BRZ, which are still doing good. Miata's have been doing great. A Supra just came back, so there's still a 2-door market. Although all the cars I just mentioned are rear-wheel drive. Is there a market for performance front-wheel drive coupes? For me, yeah. I don't know about a lot of other people, but I would like that. So again, a lot of people kind of butthurt about the 4-door thing. Kind of makes sense to me. The thing I like about it is it didn't look super bulky because Acura just came out with a new version of TSX, whatever the fuck it's called. It's right here. They just came out with a new one of those, so why would they bring the Integra back and make it the same? Because everyone's like, oh, it's 4 doors, it's gonna be huge, blah, blah. That doesn't make any sense to me that they would bring back the Integra and then be like, it's the same size as this other car that we have right now that's brand new. It doesn't make any sense. So I think it will be smaller, which is what we want. And we want it closer to the size of a Miata or BRZ or something, right? Based on the very small picture of the back of the 4-door, it does look skinnier and smaller than the other Acuras, which again, great. Also, the Civic Type Rs are gigantic. They are big, They're very wide too, because I mean, that's kind of a performance thing nowadays, right? A wide wheelbase, but yeah, the Civic Type Rs are big. That's the only thing that worries me. But again, they already have the Civic Type R and that Acura. Those are all big, so I really think it's gonna be small like we all kind of want it to be. A couple other cool things is, one, they're doing the release tonight, right? And they've already showed us that it's the Integra, the name's in the bumpers, and it's a 4-door. They've already showed us that. The next thing they posted was a picture of the inside. So we saw it's a 6-speed. That's sick, that's great. Super cool video, by the way, they did, shifting through the generations. Great. I'm gonna touch more on that in a second, but they already showed us that it's a 6-speed, a little bit of the interior, that it's a 4-door, the back and the front, and the headlights and the name. So, what more is there to tell when they unveil it tonight? Well, let me tell you this. That's why I'm so excited, because they've showed us all of that information. But if you're unveiling a car, debuting a new car, you need to have something we haven't seen, right? I think I know what it's gonna be. Which is why I haven't worried as much as some of you people. That's right, you people, you Integra people. I haven't worried about this as much because I think tonight we're gonna see a goddamn 2-door. It's gonna be a coupe, I'm telling you right now. Maybe at first they'll, I'm sure they'll go through like 20 minutes of Integra history, which is fine. And then they'll be like, here's the car, and I think it's gonna be a 2-door. Maybe they'll show a 4-door first, just to, tease us a little more, but they're releasing this tonight and they showed us so much already. There's gotta be a 2-door. There's gotta be. It's gotta be. This sweet baby is gonna be a 2-door. The only other thing that they could do that I think is gonna happen no matter what, whether or not there's a 2-door, because again, they've showed us so much, there's gotta be something new tonight, other than being able to see the whole car. Type R version. So as much as I'd love there to be like a base model, a GSR, and a Type R, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I hope they call it a Type R, not a Type S, because Acura is all about their Type S stuff. Even back to the RSX they were. So maybe it'll be like base models and then Type S and then a Type R. Maybe that's what they'll do. But point being, they had the Civic Type R, it's been out for a few years, that engine is great. The K20C1, I believe is what it is in the Type R. Makes 307 horsepower and 295 or 298 foot-pounds of torque, which is kind of ridiculous. Horsepower, you're like, okay, little turbo 4-cylinder, 2-liter. But to make almost 300 foot-pounds of torque, almost the exact same as the horsepower, that's pretty freaking nuts. And we already know the Civic Type Rs are pretty badass performance-wise, right? So, point being, they already have that engine platform out. They've already mastered, so to speak, the Civic Type R, which means making a Type R version of the Integra that they're about to drop would be the easiest thing in the world for them. Because as long as they have this car made, all they gotta do is put that engine in it. And I was at SEMA. At SEMA, they released that same engine that's in the Civic Type R, the K20C1 crate engine. You can literally buy that engine and put it in whatever you want. So if they have the Civic Type R as good as it currently is, and they have the Civic Type R engine as a crate engine that you can buy and put in whatever you want, why wouldn't they put it in the new Integra, right? I mean, you could literally buy a new Integra and then buy that engine and put it in there yourself. Not that I think anyone would do that, and it'd be expensive. But if we can do it, why wouldn't Acura, right? So again, they're making this big drop tonight and they showed us so much already that the only thing we really haven't seen is a 2-door version and the powertrain. So, but we have seen the transmission, right? So, So yeah, 2-door and engine are really the only two things that they haven't shown us yet. So I really think they're gonna try and blow the doors off of all of us, but they're only gonna blow 2 doors off. That's what I think. I think they're gonna release a Type R version and a 2-door tonight. They're gonna show us all of that. Or they'll show us a two-door version and then release a Type R version later. But I mean, this is kind of like the big concept release tonight. So I think this will be like the final, pretty much 98% accurate information until it actually goes into production, and they'll change minor things, right? They'll make minor tweaks. But guys, that's why I'm excited. I think there's gonna be a two-door version. I think they're gonna drop a two-door version. I mean, it makes sense, right? Doesn't it make sense? What else could they surprise us with? They're not gonna do this big thing, tease us for months and months and months with 3 different Instagram posts and videos, and then, you know, drop the car and be like, it's just like the 3 photos you've seen. That's all it is. There's gonna be a freaking two-door, because again, there's a good two-door market right now. The two-door market is pretty decent, and this being front-wheel drive, it'll probably be the most fuel-efficient two-door. So I think the base models, being a brand new two-door front-wheel drive car that has decent performance, probably get great gas mileage, and that will probably cater to a lot of people who commute or whatnot, want a nice little kind of quick, kind of sporty two-door to commute in. And then that will allow them to have the platform to make a Type R. And I think that is what will happen. So it really makes the most sense. So Acura, you better freaking do this, because what makes the most sense is to have a two-door version and a Type R version. And if you have a Type R version, it better come in two-door and four-door. Either way, I'm pretty excited, but if there isn't a two-door, I will be slightly disappointed. I'm torn because I really want one, but I want a two-door Type R is what I want. That's what all the people want, I think. So Acura, you better make that. But anyways, let's finish this video up. They're dropping tonight in a few hours after I film this, so I don't even think anyone's gonna watch it beforehand. But if you're waiting for the drop, hopefully you watch this video. To recap, again, they showed us the headlight with it starting, sounded great, little 10-second video. And then they released a picture of the back, and then it was a four-door, which was a win for all the people who like the four-door Integras. And then they released the shifting video, which whoever came up with the idea for that video at Acura, give them a raise, because that was sick and perfect, and they'll never be able to do that again once there's another generation of Integras. They obviously had the perfect number of generations to shift through the gears, right? And shift through the generations. So fantastic video, and it allowed us to see it was a 6-speed. And finally, color-wise, so maybe I'm reading into this too much, but the release page on Acura's website is like yellow. Nothing else on their website is really that colored. It's all like black and white. But the release page is yellowish with some other weird colors. And my buddy pointed out to me that in that shifting video, when it gets to the current generation Integra, there's a few things you can see. They blurred out everything around the shifter, unlike the other cars, to make it harder to see, but you can see what looks like an electronic parking brake and the similar buttons that are in the other Acuras, the TSX or whatever, like traction control buttons or whatever. But the other thing is the seats are white, bright white. So we're wondering if they're bringing back the original Type R colors. Yeah, the Type R yellow and white though, which seem to be, you know, especially the yellow is kind of seems like the sought after color. And those have the cooler names. Are they bringing those back? Because the seats were white in that video. Go and watch it again. I'll put it right here at the end. They're white. They've paid this much homage to the old car with the bumper and the name, so keep going, Acura, keep going. Give us a two-door Type R in the original colors from the 90s. Do it. Hope they do. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Peace. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, 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 peace.